Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Experience the Trouble, the podcast where real stories, raw truths, and your opinions class. I'm your host, Kowski, and every week we're going to dive headfirst into the chaos, the lessons, the moments that makes us, and buckle up because the trouble starts now. Well, I'm your host, Kowski, and here's my guest star, Brandon.
What's up, guys?
Where are you coming from?
Pompano.
Pompano?
Because we're in a townhouse, so it's on the same strip of our townhouses. But yeah, that's pretty much it for where I'm coming from. I'm working on the cars. I'm trying to build that CTS I was telling you about, but that's gonna take forever. I gotta buy a truck next year and handle that shit.
Okay, that's pretty cool, bro. Like, is there any dreams you're trying to achieve like this year, or since we have like 5 more months throughout the year?
I definitely want to go get sent out for my level twos for work for JLR. Since I missed the opportunity to do that last month, build my savings back up. Obviously finish renovations downstairs at our house, which should be done soon. And just kind of getting myself set up for next year. Next year, I want to get a truck. I'm working on getting my son. I just want this year to be about setting myself up for next year, because next year all the drama should be subsided, so I can then hit the ground running, focusing on myself and work in the family, and just building those steps to when we can move to Port St. Lucie and just getting everything set up for that.
Okay, so if you don't mind me asking, like, what are the dramas in your life?
Right now I'm currently trying to fight for my son. Long story short, had a kid with someone that I didn't know that I was going to have a kid with, because I was lied to about certain circumstances. So for the last few years since my son's been alive, it's been a lot of drama going back and forth. But at the end of the day, I'll do what I got to do for my kids, whether it's for Jackson, not only my wife, but the kids obviously miss Jackson. They miss their brother. So I'm doing what I can, not only for me, so I can be in my son's life more, but so my kids deserve to be in their brother's life and he can be with them. Same thing with my wife, and so on and so forth. So it's just, honestly dealing with that. But to kind of pinpoint on the father stuff, it sucks because it puts me in the category of the system, regardless of any of the sacrifices that I've done. With me being a father in a situation, the system looks at it differently. Even though, yeah, I'm the one pursuing him, I'm the one trying to fight for him, I'm the one who's trying to be there for him. At the end of the day, the system is unfortunately in certain states against fathers. Luckily in Florida, they're very much 50-50, but it makes things difficult if your child's out of state. But it is what it is. It's just, at the end of the day, I can't blame anybody else because I put myself in this position. Don't get me wrong, a lot of things that have happened over the years was nowhere near my fault. But, me being irresponsible and going out and doing things I wasn't supposed to put me in the situation, at the end of the day, I'm a grown ass man. I'm going to deal with it. I got to be there for my kids. I got to be there for them and do what I got to do, because at the end of the day, as we all know, there's not a lot of dads in people's lives. So it's like, it's very hard for a community to see, someone who tries. Like, I've slept on airport floors so I can go pick my son up if I couldn't afford a hotel room, or I'll fly in and fly out same day so I can get him. Like, there's no excuses to anything I won't do to try to get him. I'll take a train up there if I have to, or whatever the case I got to do, since I know I got to fly him back. But other than that, it's really just grinding at work. That's really the only drama I have in my life. The wife and I rarely argue. Kids are going to be kids. They're going to get in trouble. So that's like little drama. But that's the only like major thing. And it's just, at the end of the day, like I said, I put myself in this position and I learned from it. And I'm going to be what I'm supposed to be, which is a good father for my children.
So, from your experiences, what would you give the audience advice on your situation? Like the pros and cons, or how to not be in a situation?
Obviously, wear condoms for starters. But, me and her were in a relationship. And obviously, if you feel like you want to have kids with this person, you gotta make sure that's the right person for you. People can't just be having kids with whoever.
How do you know if it's the right person?
You know, fully, like, you don't just jump into things in a relationship. You don't just open up and just accept someone without really knowing them. That's kind of what happened with me. I was going through something tough and I was weak, and unfortunately, looking back on it now, I can see that's why she was attracted to me, because she knew she can pry on that. I was already down horrendously bad, and she kind of just fed on that. And like, since I was already like kind of like in the dumps of despair and everything I had going on at the time, she kind of came in at a weird moment where I was very vulnerable and just didn't really care. I just kind of wanted someone to be around, and now I'm stuck because I just wanted to have somebody to be around at that time. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love my son to death. But it sucks the situation I'm in. But at the end of the day, like, I'm doing it now. So like, when he is older, he's not caught in the middle of, like, I've seen, even when we went to school together, I've seen kids who are torn apart because their parents, they get into a legal battle when they're at a certain age where they're stuck in the middle and uses the pawn. And unfortunately, she's using Jackson as a pawn against me by doing the things that she's doing. I'm not really going to go too much in depth since it's still like an open legal case. But just doing the certain things that she's doing that she's not supposed to be doing, and it's just things that all of these are, even though it hurts me and I shouldn't be going through it. These are all the consequences that I put on myself from doing the things that I did. So I've accepted that, and it's hard, but at the end of the day, you got to be a grown ass man, do what you got to do, and a real man would do what he needs to do for his children, not for himself. If I was going to be for myself, I can be like, all right, you know what, screw it. I'll be a deadbeat and I'll be there for my kid. And it's not how I roll. Like, I'm not going to be there for my three stepchildren and not be there for my own blood. So, and my wife respects that, and we understand that. And we all love the children as the same, whether it's ours or not. She's the same way with Jackson. In her eyes, that's her son as well. Obviously, her stepson. We have mutual respect for. Even though she's put us through a lot, we still have respect for her as Jackson's mother and her boyfriend. Like, I'm not an asshole. I'm a stepdad. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to do the things that my son's mother did to Diana in regards of, like, who he is to him. If you're in a relationship and Jackson trusts him, that's his stepdad. There's nothing I can do about that. And I'm not going to sit here and be one of those baby daddies who are on top. No, you live your life. You got a boyfriend. It's fine. As long as he doesn't touch my kid in a way that he inappropriately, physically, or whatever, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, da da da, that's not his dad. I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, I've had a stepmother growing up. My mom died. I'm a stepfather now. I'm not going to switch up and be an asshole. And at the end of the day, it's just going to hurt my son at the end of the day. But it's just a matter of, at the end of the day, I'm a grown ass man who made bad decisions, and I'm, suffering the consequences of it, but I'm going to take it head on. And I'm not just going to, fall into that category the system wants me to fall into.
That's understandable. I mean, for somebody that's been through so much, as kids, blood or not blood related, still family. Family is family,
Mm.
regardless. So, like, what is your like most memorable moments that you can remember? Family, friends, that just can never leave your mind.
Um, well, with all four of them this year, we took them to the West Palm Beach Zoo for my oldest's birthday. Well, the oldest and her brother, because their birthdays are a couple days apart. It actually kind of works out perfectly now that I think about it, because my oldest and the oldest boy, their birthdays are a couple days apart, because the oldest is on the 3rd and the older boy is on the 11th. And then in July, it's my second oldest, her birthday is the 20th, and then my son, his birthday is the 11th in a different month. So like, we kind of do like combo birthdays. So this year we took them to the West Palm Beach Zoo. Last year we took them for, and the birthday is in July. We took them to the park, the water park over in Hollywood. I think that one's TY. Um, when me and Donna first got together, our first vacation was just with our older daughters. we drove from here to Kentucky to get White Castle. I never had a White Castle, and the one in Orlando wasn't open yet. And so we went to this. We were originally going to Asheville, North Carolina, but we made, me and Diana, being the foodies that we are, we took like a 4-hour detour to go to Kentucky because that was the closest White Castle. And then we went to White Castle. We sat in the parking lot of White Castle, and then it started snowing. So I said, "Screw it!" And I'm the fun parent. Diana's the kind of, she'll sit and binge watch shows with you and kind of do stuff like that. I'm the dad who is, I'm gonna throw your ass in the pool. I'm gonna do whatever, because as a kid, that's what you want. So I got out of the car, took the girls out, and we had like a snowball fight in the middle of like the White Castle parking lot. And that was 4.5 years ago, because we met in November and we had that first vacation that January. So it's like, and the girls still talk about it to this day. What else have we done? Our second vacation, this is just me and Diana. And it's funny because now that we're married, so we went to Colorado. There's a time difference there. It's like 2 hours.
It's not that bad.
It's not, but I'm used to getting up at 7. So I'm in Colorado getting up at 4:30 in the morning, and I'm wide awake. I was already back then. I still have serious problems sleeping. So I was like, screw it. We had a Jeep. Diana can sleep through a fucking atomic bomb. So I got dressed. I went down to the heated pool, hung out there for a while. It was kind of snowing. Came back upstairs. She was still asleep. So I was like, screw it. I looked up online, like cool places in the area so you can go out and like watch the sunrise or whatever. So I found a spot that wasn't far from our hotel room. I go over there, and I'm in a Jeep. It has all the lights, like the light bar in the front, all of it. I turn everything on. I still cannot see 5 feet in front of me.
Is that dark?
Yeah. Because it was like 5 o'clock in the morning at that point, like 5:30. Mind you, there's mountain lions and all different kinds of shit out there. So it was like, I didn't get out the fucking car. I sat there. I'm like, yep, I'm going to stay in the car. It's safe because I can't see anything 5 feet in front of me. So I never got out of the car. I pulled up and turned right back around. So she realized I was gone for like an hour and a half. So then we go back out to when the sunrise started coming up. Mind you, I never got out of the car. So we're walking around. We go to the top. We go to the kind of, it's like on a mountain. So we kind of go to the top of it almost. I wouldn't say a mountain, but it's like they had houses top of this mountain. So it wasn't like we had to go hiking. We just drove up to that. There's like a little trail up there. So we drove up through the neighborhood to the trail and then walked the trail. So I see something like these weird rocks in the distance. So I pointed out to her. I'm like, babe, what the fuck is that? Somebody before wrote, "Will you marry me?" in rocks at the top of this fucking mountain.
How convenient.
I had no idea. This is our 1-year anniversary. So I had no idea that thing was there. I had no intentions of proposing. My family hasn't even met her yet. And she thought I proposed to her because I was gone for 2 hours. Came back tired, told her I wanted to go somewhere, brought her breakfast in bed, did the whole thing.
Sounds like God's plan.
Dude, I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck. So she starts, typical hyperventilating, freaking out, whatever. And I'm like, if I say no, it's fucking true. So I was like, I straight up was like, baby, if you want it, it's yours. Flat out. I was like, listen, we done spent too much money for us to fly out to Colorado and do all this shit. There's no way I'm going to ruin this trip on the second day. Because we went for like 5 days. And then when she was hyped up, but she saw the look on my face. So then she's like, you didn't do this, did you? I was like, I said again, like, baby, if you want it, it's yours. I'm not trying to ruin this trip. So then we turned it into a gag, like a little gag joke. So she posted on Instagram and all this other shit. And we still talk about it. I still bring it up because it was just like, it was known that we were going to do this years in advance. So it was just kind of funny how like things worked out. Something me and her are never going to forget. I still bring about it. I still look at the photos of it because we took pictures of it. So like, it was so cool. I want to see if I still have
That is crazy
them.
how life works. Look at you guys now.
Yeah, the wedding was great. We had a good time. We had drama beforehand, but at the end of the day, it didn't ruin the
Every
it didn't ruin anything for us.
every relationship has drama. Oh wow,
Like it wasn't something small. Like it
that
went. Whoever did this went all out because what's perfect is it's at the top of the mountain. So when the sunrise comes up, the sunrise is glistening on the rocks, and you see the sunrise coming up around the mountains and shit. So it was like the perfect romantic setup. And I told my babe, like, I never got out of the car. Like, I had no idea this was here. It's like, why didn't you get out of the car? I'm like, I didn't want to die. I'm like, she's like, oh, you had the Jeep. I had to explain to her. I'm like, yeah, but even with all the lights on, I could not see 5 feet in front of me. I'm like, babe, we saw mountain lions, mountain goats, and bears coming over when we were driving into the valley. Why in the hell would I get out of this Jeep when it's pitch black outside and I can't see nothing? But I would say those are a couple of things that I've had with my family that I'll never forget. Obviously, like when I first met Jackson after all like the legal stuff, that was obviously like a big thing. And he like instantly knew. Like he never met me and like within like 5 minutes he like instantly knew who I was. And yeah, it's pretty much those are like kind of like the big things that we've all done together. Um yeah, because we haven't gone on another vacation with the kids since then.
so is that like 4 years ago? About so.
Yeah. Me and her went to North Carolina with the kids. With the two girls was like 4 years ago. And then our last vacation was together was last year when I proposed. I lied to her all the way up until like the day before our trip. I made it seem like I was too broke, couldn't afford to do a vacation, nothing. But like for like 6 months, I was like planning everything behind the scenes with her friends, with her family, with her job. So since my girl's she's pretty much like the lead therapist at her job. So she has access to the schedules and shit. So I couldn't tell her boss to block her schedule for a week because she would know something was up. So I had to literally coordinate with her boss. Her boss had to find coverage for Diana to like find coverage for her behind closed doors because you know if because Diana always checks her schedule the day before work, so she knows what kind of day she's going into.
Yeah.
So I had all that planned out. I had the ring planned out. I had the ring when I bought the ring. I had it sent to her mom's house instead of our house because we had to drop the because we were driving to Alabama for that was my gift to her. Because I got a cabin out there and we were gonna be out there for a while. So I had everything planned out. The ring got sent to her mom's house. We had to drop the kids off at her mom's house. So I made it seem like I couldn't afford for us to do an anniversary, that nothing was gonna happen. So I came home that day before we were gonna go do everything. Came home pissed off, pretending to be so upset. Came in the house, slammed the door. The kids tried to say hi to me. I just said hi in a short tone and went straight upstairs, knowing that Diana would be upset and then follow me upstairs. She came upstairs, asked me what was going on, asked me what was going on at work. I lied to her. I said, "No, like some shit happened at work and I broke a car. Like I'm fucking pissed, whatever, whatever." So then I was like, "Babe, like I'm sorry, but you know, I can't afford for us to do anything for anniversary. We're not going to do anything. I'm sorry." And she was like,
Little
"Okay,
did
da, da,
she
da, da."
know.
Huh?
Little did she
Yeah.
know.
So then, you know, I let her get all upset and hyped up about it or whatever. And then like once like the kids were chilling or whatever, I was like, "Bet, I gotta talk to you for a second." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, all due like I kind of made it seem like I was leaving." I'm like, "Well, all due respect, we need to pack a bag." And she was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Blah, 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 blah. And that's why I was like, "Babe, I've been lying to you for like the last 6 months. We're about to go on a vacation for a week." She's like, "Oh," I'm like, "I already spoke to your boss. Your schedule's already been blocked. There's already coverage for it." I'm like, "It's on your schedule because we knew we couldn't block it out because you would have picked up on it. But you don't have to worry about work. Everything's covered. The kids are covered. I just need you to pack a bag for a week." So she was already excited off of that alone. So when we drove up, we obviously stopped at her mom's house, dropped off the kids. I picked up the ring from her mom when she was on the other side of the house doing something with the children. And then we drove up to Georgia so we can have like brunch. And the restaurant he picked had like I don't know if it would be considered a ravine, but it was like, now I wouldn't even really call it a water, like I wouldn't even really call it a waterfall either, but I guess a creek or a ravine where it's like the view was just nice. So I texted my boy, I'm like, yo, because he knew what I was doing from jump. And I was like, yo, I'm just gonna propose here. Can you record? He was like, yeah. Where he fucked up at is he kept stopping the recording, even though I told him to not stop the recording. So he kept like, I did it the way I set up was we went down to the ravine by the water. And you know, like how everyone wants to do those like JC Penney poses.
Yeah.
I made it seem like we were doing that out there, so I can like. So then when I made her turn around, I was gonna get the ring out of my pocket. Similar, another weird situation that happened. It wasn't these pants, but it was like a similar pants, and they had like a zipper on the side. That's where I put it.
Yeah.
Never ever had an issue with this zipper. As soon as I tried to do the zipper, get stuck, and I was mad because, bro, if you would have saw the whole video, it's like you literally see me trying to. I'm fucking with the zipper, and it's not going. I literally ripped the side of my fucking pants open, like destroyed the pants, and got and like right. She heard it, so that's when she turned around. And then, like, when I saw it, I, like, hurried up and grabbed it and went on one. I was like, fuck. So and then I have the video, she wigged out exactly the same way she did 3 years prior. But she obviously knew this one was real. We had a good time. Then we drove up to Alabama. We got a cabin. It was like, wasn't in the woods. It was a string of cabins, but they had, like, woods in between them. So you weren't really, like, it's not like, you can't see the cabin next to you. But it's not like I'm not in the middle of fucking nowhere where I'm going to get fucked up and nobody will know. It's like the main road was here and I kind of drove like not even a quarter of a mile off the road and the cabin was right there. And there's like another thing, like the cabins are like, I guess like 500 feet apart. And there's like 3 or 4 of them and other people were staying in the other cabins too, not all of them, but one person was next to us like the last 2 days we were there. And not the one on the left of us, but the one after that one, somebody was there for like the first day we were there. So like it was a spot where I'm like, okay, like I'm not like in the middle of butt fuck and I'm like no like nothing's gonna happen. And it wasn't like I was away from like civilization or whatever. Like the town was a mile away. So we had a good time. It had a hot tub in the back. And it was November, so it was cold, so it was really nice. So we'll go in the hot tub in the back, hang out, chill.
Yeah, I was chilling.
Oh no, we weren't fucking in the hot tub. That's not, it's not our hot tub, so I feel like that's a little disrespectful.
Okay.
But like it's like
I'd have done some shit.
I mean, yeah, but it's like obviously in the cabin, but like that's just me. Like it's just we're this is an Airbnb we're at. And it's like I mean, obviously I would have saw cameras inside, but we're in the middle of the fucking woods. They can have a camera on one of those trees and I can't fucking see it.
You're right.
You feel me? And
They
it's like,
be doing, catching people.
that's what I'm saying. Shit. They paid for that. They invested that money in that. I'm not going to degrade their shit. Obviously inside the cabin, it's closed doors, a bed. Cool. But like.
Counter, sink, toilet, TV, everything.
The cabin wasn't that big.
Oh, wow.
But it was nice. We were out there for a week. We had a great time. We went to this restaurant that there's actually something similar down here, but not. It's kind of equal just because the other one that's down here doesn't have those big animals, but it's big enough to kind of be on the same thing. But this restaurant had like a walking petting zoo or like a walking zoo in the back. But we went back there. There was like fucking lions and fucking there were all different kinds of shit back there, and I was like, "What the?"
That's a petting zoo?
Yeah, behind a steakhouse. Like there's a steakhouse up there, a very well-known steakhouse, but they have like a zoo in the back. They got horses, goats, armadillos. There's a lion back there. They got.
You were touching a lion?
Nah, it was dark, so there was no workers out there. Oh. So it was nighttime. So I wasn't petting nothing. I was just walking by and looking at things. There were ostriches there. Like it was it's not, it wasn't like, it was like a legit zoo. Like it had, like, if you were to go to Miami Zoo, like big animals throughout there. But there's one over here that's in Delray. It's not it doesn't have a lot of big animals, but it has a decent amount of animals. You can pet them. They have bunnies, goats. There's a huge bird cage where you can go in there and feed the birds, and the birds will come on you and stuff like that.
Pause.
Yeah, but they'll come and sit on your shoulders, and you can feed them, or the kids, they'll come and fly on the kids, and the kids can feed them. There's bunnies there. You can feed the bunnies, hold the bunnies, goats. Um, they have like a little train thing that goes around back there. It's pretty decent. And in the front,
That's my kind of zoo.
In the front, it's like a pizzeria slash ice cream parlor. So it's all generated around like kid stuff. Don't get me wrong. The food is, I mean, I wouldn't say the food.
It's ass.
No. The ice cream, like the location, the food's like a little expensive just due to everything they have there. So like if you're gonna go, like when we go there with the kids, we spend like maybe $200 because all the food, and then it's like $5 per kid or some shit to get into the petting zoo, and it's like $10 for adults or something like that. Because even though it's connected to it, you had to pay to get in.
That's not that bad. It's just I call it the family price.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like I'm not mad about it. You know, I'm getting what I'm paying for, so I don't mind paying for it. Like I was
the experience.
Yeah, you know, I was gonna take the kids to Rapids this weekend because they had a sale. It was like, but it's like $45 a person, bro. I went in because I was on the website, and the adult one is up. It's $25 a person. So why do you have a whole adult night for 4 hours, and it's $25 a person, but I gotta pay $45 for my kid to come to the water park? Like, and it just doesn't make sense. And now like the sale ended, I think yesterday. So now the prices are back up to $65 a person, and I'm not paying $65 for
anywhere for.
I wouldn't pay that for myself to go to a water park. So I'm just gonna take them to CB at some point because I know the kids want to do the lazy river. I just know Rapids has bigger rides they would want to do. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to hit bonus at work for like 2 weeks straight, and that extra money will be able to pay for the Rapids, because I promised them I would take them there because 2 of them did really well in school. So I promised the 2 of them I was going to take them.
And to this day, I still have never been to Rapids in my life.
I've been so many times. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say so many, but I've been like 5 times.
It's a lot more than me.
My family, they like that. They did the TY, they did the CB, but like once a year we would go to Rapids. The last time I went was when I was dating that gymnastic chick from the other school.
That was so long ago.
Dude, like,
bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like I haven't gone in like 4 to 5 years. So I have no idea what's there, what's the same, what's not. But it is what it is. I'm kind of upset now that I didn't, because if I would have bought the tickets, I could have booked it for any date. But I had things I had to take care of. I had to pay some stuff for the car, had to buy some more tools for work, and
a lot of grown man shit right there.
Just dropped $6,000 in property taxes. Just dropped $5,500 on renovations. Dropped $7,500 on a lawyer.
Just thousands of thousands,
dude.
$1,000 just responsibility.
And I'm over here like, damn.
Sometimes,
dude, it is like I was telling Diana, like, because she's been in her feelings since the whole like legal stuff has started. Like, I'm not gonna go in depth, but it's just been difficult. And I've explained to her, I'm like, babe, like if this isn't something that I would have wanted, I wouldn't have got with you in the first place. Like, I knew meeting you, I knew you had your own children. I knew you couldn't have kids because you tied your tubes. I came in knowing all this, and it's not going to change. You know, I've told her, I'm like, I've expected you to leave me long ago because of all this, you know, the legal stuff, and like that puts people through a lot.
And that's what I call true love right there.
Like that first legal situation was terrible on both of us, especially because a lot of it we're on our own, and a lot of it there was a lot of personal attacks that were taken to us in order to try to prevent, my son from being in our lives. But we figured it out. We got through it. It's just, since we're going through it again, even though we feel like the situation is on our side and at some point it will work out in our favor, it's still difficult. We have to relive all this shit again. I have to go through all the things again and go and just do that whole process again. At the end of the day, it's still traumatizing to reopen that wound because of the amount of things we went through during that first legal case. But, at the end of the day, we know that we always end up getting through it. We always end up doing what we got to do for the kids and everything. At the end of the day, whether it takes a month, 6 months, a year, or 5 years, it'll always end up working itself out eventually. We have a good plan on our shoulders. We have things we want to accomplish. So we have a game plan. We're not just, running into this blind and raw dogging it. I'm very much the kind of person where I have everything set up. My mind runs 1,000 miles a minute. So I think about every scenario, any which way something can happen, which is part of why I can rarely ever sleep. And I'm on such heavy sleeping medication to help me sleep. But
That just calls a lot of maturity that came through your life.
you saw me at high school. The shit I had to go through at ATM. I had to grow up a lot faster than everybody else. By the time freshman year, I had the mentality of a college student because of just the shit I went through. So then, school became boring. Like I would sit in AP classes and it wasn't challenging. That was the only thing. Like I was good in school because with certain things because I liked the challenge. That's why I came in taking junior classes and AP classes as a freshman because I like the challenge. It keeps my brain working. My brain likes to have a challenge. Like it likes to have to solve things. But dude, ATM was not it. Like that wasn't the school for me.
I mean, it's a school opportunity compared to most schools.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It was a great opportunity. They had great programs, but it wasn't. I needed to go to Mast or Booker T down in Miami working on planes, like something. I needed to have that challenge. I'm glad I found this job doing the mechanic stuff because, dude, every day is a challenge. One day I can have a flood car and I gotta take apart the entire car apart. Next day, let's say a car comes in with sludge. Now I gotta do an engine. Or let's say the interior work, even though it's super annoying and I always end up getting these crazy cars that needs interior work, it's so tedious and there's so many, with the car, especially with rotors, everything's on top of each other. So if you got to take something apart, you got to take 5 other things apart before you can get to what you need, especially on the interior.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Bro, I've stripped cars down to the bare, it's bare. There's not a single piece of carpet or single piece of bodywork inside the car. I've stripped at least 3 cars to the bare metal. I mean, obviously you'll see the wire harnesses and stuff, but there's no dash, no seats, no carpet, no trunk, no nothing. It's all just bare metal and wire harness. And it's really 35 smaller looking batteries inside that big ass case. And if one of those cells go bad, you have to replace damn near the whole thing. Or if you can get it to where that one cell didn't damage the other cells, you can kind of save it, but that's besides the point. But yeah, with my job, it helps. My job's challenging. Every day you don't know what you're gonna get into, and it's also you want to hit bonus. You challenge yourself to hit bonus because when you hit bonus, you make a hell of a lot more money.
It makes you feel good on the inside.
I mean, I wouldn't say it makes me feel good. I do feel accomplished, but
It's never enough.
no. Especially since I know that I can grow. I know there is room for me to grow and make more money, so that's why I know it's not enough. If I was already Mac, obviously that wouldn't have happened. I just graduated last year in June.
Congrats.
Thanks. But it's just if I was maxed out, I could feel content. If I was level 4 EV certified, I would feel genuinely happy at that point. Would I want to go for more? Yeah, I really actually want to be a field agent where pretty much they'll fly me out, or I want to say fly me out, but they'll have me within a certain like area. So anyone, if a dealership in like our deal like the dealership in Doral has one of the techs has a bad problem car they can't figure out, they'll send the field technician out there to go try to fix that car. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to work myself up and build the knowledge at that to do that. And coincidentally, the new field manager who's set our region or our sector or whatever was my mentor when I was in the program. Like by pure coincidence, he ended up being the field agent. So I've already learned a lot from him. So I already know I'm on the right path to do it. And we never like when he left, we like me and him didn't have bad terms when he left the dealer. So we've always been cool. We've always maintained. We've always talked. He's always down with teaching me stuff and telling me stuff. So I know I can get there. It's just the process and grinding to do so. And I also know, once we move, that's going to change. Like I don't know if he covers that sector up north. But at the end of the day, man, it's all part of the process. JLR is a big brand. JLR work on them, but dude, I probably wouldn't want to work on another brand. I like even though like it sucks. Like I feel like yeah, like Toyota, Nissan, and everyone has their own issues and their own problems and stuff like that. But like I feel like JLR is on a higher pedestal than like Audi and BMW in the aspect of mechanical work because Land Rover uses BMW engines. Land Rover uses similar specifications to Audi. So that's why, like in my business, everyone's like, if you can work on JLR, you can work on any brand because JLR is like they're beautiful cars, and if you can afford them, they're awesome. They drive better than a Cadillac. You feel like you're in a floating cloud. They take off like it's nothing. They're all-wheel drive. They're just great cars. They're great looking cars, and I like them, but they're put together like shit, which is why the people who own them, they got money to afford that stuff. Or, they buy these cars brand new, so it has warranty. So if people have the money, like they're dropping 2, 3 grand a month on car payments alone, not even including insurance. So it's like they got the money to do that. So if I smack them with a $5,000 bill for service,
They got it like that.
yeah, they don't care.
I don't got it like that. I'm gonna stick with my little Nissan.
I got the Lincoln outside. I'm lucky because that my dealer has Lincoln in the dealer, so I can like buy parts. But still,
I'm gonna just go to the junkyard. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, I go to U-Pool and call it a day. But you got to do what you got to do, and like Diana and I have worked really hard at our respective careers. She's been at the same hotel for 25 years. She's been at that hotel since it opened. W. People who like the close friends who know about my situation with my son, they'll try to say, "Oh, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. Like this is so terrible." But it's like I've seen people go through worse. Like at the end of the day, like my son's still alive. People have gone through with the loss of their children, and I haven't. I'm happy to never have to go through that. So it's just like I try to look at it as, yeah, this shit sucks and it's terrible or whatever the case it is, but it could be worse. It could be a hell of a lot worse. My son could be in, serious physical danger or whatever, which he's not. At the end of the day, like he doesn't. He's I know he's safe. He's okay. I wouldn't say safe, but I know he's okay. They have their way of doing things that I don't like, and I have my way of doing things that they may not like. So we got to deal with it. It's two separate households. I'm not going to tell her how to manage her household and how to parent, and she can't tell me how to manage my household and how to parent. So it's just
Exactly.
at the end of the day, that's just how co-parenting is. I know my son's okay, and that's all that matters. I love him and I want to have him more, which is why I'm going through what I'm going through. But I know at the end of the day, like his life is not in danger. He's not crying because he's going through something or whatever the case may be. So it's like, as much as, the situation sucks, it could have been 1,000 times worse. So I'm just letting it roll. Whatever happens, happens. I've told my wife that this is the last time that I'm doing this. I'm not, like, if it doesn't work out my way, then it doesn't work out my way. I can confidently show him that I did everything that I could to be there for him and try to, try to, not be the person that, I'm not a deadbeat dad. Like, I did what I needed to do to try to be there for you. If I didn't win legally, then there's nothing I could do at that point. I did absolutely. I can tell myself and feel confident that I did absolutely everything I can. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It is what it is. And it's just. Don't get me wrong. I want it to work out. I would love for it to, but
You
I'm.
gotta stay hopeful. Hopeful.
Yeah, of course, I am very hopeful, especially with everything that I like, everything I have. But you never know. Things can go sideways. Like my last one, like there was a lot of things that at the very last minute, my entire case went completely sideways. Nothing that I did, nothing that I could have controlled. Just something on. It was like something on the county. Something happened with the county, and all of my stuff got pushed, and it messed up a lot of stuff. So, that's why unfortunately, I'm going through this a second time. But yeah, it's pretty much that on that. And it's just, I'm just doing what I can to do every day. I've just finished doing some more trainings. It was kind of difficult. I haven't been able to talk to Jackson that much these last couple of weeks because I was doing some of that EV training because I want to at least know it. I want to know more, even though I'm nowhere near where I need to be to get sent out to get trained for that. I have coworkers who are still training in it. So I'm allowed to join them. And even though I'm not near the level to, actually get sent out for training, but since I still work there, I'm allowed to work with them and try to learn stuff. So that's what I've been doing. So I had to sacrifice some phone calls and some time to talk to Jackson, but I learned a lot about EVs and how they work within these 2 weeks. So I was really happy about that. It sucked that I had to sacrifice my phone calls with him, but I did learn a lot that I know obviously later on will definitely help me, him, and all that stuff.
Sounds like every sacrifice in your life gave you some type of gift for the future.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just, it's hard to, when you're in the thick of it, and I try to, with me and Donna obviously have our times where I'm down bad. Um, she'll be there for me. If she's down bad, I'll be there for her. So it's like, it's hard to look at it that way when you're in the thick of it, of the situation, when there's a lot of things going on. But, as long as even if you don't have a good head on your shoulders, as long as you have at least a good support system around you, you'll eventually be able to kind of get out of that funk mindset and then be able to look at it as in a sense. And yeah, like what I'm going through right now sucks. But as long as I keep going in the right path and doing the things I'm supposed to, it's going to work out. So, like, since this whole legal thing started, a funny thing, my wife's very much into like crystals and spiritualness and all that zodiac.
I already know.
Yeah.
Been through it.
Yeah. I mean, I like crystals. I think crystals are cool. That's the most I get into it. I genuinely I believe the whole crystal thing. I like how they look and stuff like that. So, like, I'll get crystals for myself or my wife or whatever. I got her this massive fucking crystal. I can't remember what she called it. I think she said it was like black quartz or something. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty massive.
Bro, I didn't buy this one, but that can go for like almost $1,000. I didn't buy it, but that crystal can go for like almost $1,000 because it's so big. Like small crystals you can get as a necklace will cost you $30. That thing is probably like 15 pounds, and it's like solid. I bought her that. I bought her like a couple crystal trees and stuff. But what I was trying to say was yeah. So since we started this whole legal thing, a lot of like spiritual signs we've been getting is with numbers. So we've been getting a lot of like when we look at the time, we've been getting a lot of like the angelic numbers where it's like seven, well, not 777, obviously, but like 444, 333, 1111, 111, that kind of stuff. We've
Yeah.
been getting that like multiple times throughout every single day. Like, I can literally show you messages of us texting each other, just saying the time of when we see it. 1111, 444, 333, 111, 222, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. And it never failed. It's literally every single day. So we know, like, and we weren't getting this before.
That's a good sign.
Yes, what I'm saying. So, like, we know that, even that's why I said, even if this situation does not work out in the way that I want it to, I know it'll work out in the way that I need it to. Whether it's what I want or whether it's not what I want, I know that this situation will work out in the way that it needs to be for the betterment of everybody else around us. That's why, like, I'm not like, and I had my son for one birthday, and like he's gonna be turning 4, and it's like,
That's crazy.
For his first birthday,
That isn't fair.
she caused a scene. I'm not even gonna go into that because it was just traumatic for him. Second birthday, she had him. That was just based on our court order. And then this year, I have him. You can pause and you can answer that.
That's cool.
But yeah, I just gotta do what I gotta do, and with that situation, it's just I have no problem talking about it because I put myself in that position. I was going into this. I was gonna try to address it as if I'm speaking as in a third party, but then it's like at the end of the day that I gotta it's people gotta understand that there are people who go through this. I didn't want to talk about it through oh, I know somebody and da 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 and kind of pitch that conversation when I'm really talking about myself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't, with situations like this, especially like with dads and shit, we don't, and it's just, even if you're a dad, just men in general, a lot of people aren't, the whole mental health stuff, we're not very good with that.
We don't communicate our feelings like that,
Not even, yes, and also, we also feel like, even though we know there are guys who go through the things we're going through, since we don't address it as the things that we're going through ourselves, other men don't think they have a chance because they hear stories from other people. Even though that person could be talking about themselves, someone who's watching it's not going to know that. So, it's like I just said screw it, and I was like, you know what, I'll speak on it for myself. Because at the end of the day, if I can even just help one dad in the situation, I'm fine with that. Because at the end of the day, if you actually want to be there for your kid, you'll do what you need to do. And I have friends who disappoint me because they see everything I go through, and they have cool baby mamas or whatever the situation is. They have a situation between their son's mom and the kid where they're not going through the things I'm going through. They can easily have access to their kids and do things for them, and they choose not to. They'll rather buy shit for themselves, whether it's gold chains, cars, tattoos, taking care of other shit besides your kids.
Some people are just selfish like that.
No, I know, and that's just I understand. What sucks is all dads are put into that category, no matter what you've done, no matter what the situation is. Unfortunately, we're in that position all the time. So it's that's why I was like, screw it. I'm going to speak of it as my situation because I know how I am and I know who I am. I'm going to be there for my children. And if someone else is going through even a small percentage of what I'm going through, hearing that, just as a man, simply hearing that someone else is actually speaking of their own experience and it's possibly something that
they can relate to.
Exactly. It helps. Even if I don't directly speak to them, or they just listen to what I'm talking about or whatever, they can take out whatever they want to do with it and try to help their situation or whatever. And if someone ever does reach out to me, cool, I got no problem with that. I've already told my wife, and later on when all this is over, I got no problem. I wouldn't say being a life coach, but
you don't mind sharing advice for
other fathers in situations like this. I wouldn't say I would be a guardian on Latham. That's a bit excessive.
A little too much.
Yeah, pretty much a guardian ad litem is just pretty much someone who's there for the children in situations like this. And it's like, I'm not trying to do all that. Like, that's a lot. You gotta be in people's cases. You gotta handle, like, I'm pretty for the child in the legal case. And it's like, I'm good. Like, I'd rather just, explain my story if I can help. Dads who actually really want to be in their lives, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm tired of giving my advice to deadbeat dads who aren't going to take it, especially ones that I know. And I've pretty much like kind of distanced myself from those guys either, because it's like, I've known you guys for years and you guys have seen my situation from start till now. And you know the things I've done for my child, and you're still treating your kids like shit. I don't want to be around you. Not going to learn. I've given you every single tool for you to do what you got to do for your kids. If you can't do it, the problem is you, not your kids, not the baby mama, not your job. The problem is you. There's no reason why you can't do something. You don't work literally 24/7. And if you do, if you know your kids don't got shit, don't spend all your money on yourself. Even if you feel like, hey, I don't trust my BM, I don't want to give her the money she might use it on herself. Cool. Go out and buy the shit yourself, drop it off, go out and buy the shit yourself and have it at your house whenever your kids come. And actually, spend time with your kids. Don't ask for your kid once a month, have them for 3 hours and give them back in worse condition than they came in. So it's just, it sucks. Like I said in the beginning, being a dad in a situation like this, I get put into that same category. So from the beginning, it's an uphill battle off start.
Yeah, not all dads are bad.
Exactly.
So
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it sucks. Like with my pops, like our situation was different because like my mother had passed away. But like I'm sure back then, and not to my family, of course, because my family was nothing. Like my family was never like, you can't see Brandon. Like that was never a thing. But obviously, like if he were to talk about the situation he was now his kid, people look at him differently. Whether and like they unfortunately in situations like that, people automatically look at you negatively because they think you did something wrong as to why your kid's not in your life. And it's like for me and my father, that wasn't the case. For him, it was just the fact that my mom had passed away, and he was already going through a lot, so it was just better for me to be with my mom's side of the family. And the situation with my son, I've never did anything wrong to him or her, and it's just for me, it's just lies being told against me, so I don't get to be in his life. But like I've made a promise to him when he was a baby. Just like, no matter what happens with the situation, no matter whatever goes on, I'm never going to not be there for you. I'm never going to like treat you poorly because of anything I'm going through with your mother. You're your own person. It's unfair to treat you negatively because of who your parent is. You didn't ask for that shit. At the end of the day, like,
I agree.
I'm not going to treat my child like shit because of the counterpart. Because at the end of the day, if you do that, the child feels like you're attacking them because that's half of them. If I'm treating his mama like shit, I'm treating him halfway like shit. And it's the same thing. And, unfortunately, in that situation, she doesn't see it that way, even though he's literally vocalized it in his own, 3-year-old way, about to be 4. But it is what it is. And, I got to keep doing what I got to do. And I'm going to be there for my child, whether anyone likes it or not.
To show him one day.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when he gets older, I got to show him everything. I'm not gonna be an asshole about it. Like I'm not gonna show it to him in hopes to get him against his mom. But I will show it to him when he asks. I'm not gonna be like, hey, you're 18 now, let me talk to you about something, or you're 15 now, let me talk to you about something. If he's curious, I have no problem telling him. But I'm not going to be that parent who's going to shove it down his throat to get him to pick a side. If he's curious about what happened, if he's old enough or mature enough to understand it, I got no problem explaining it to him whether his mama likes it or not. He asked me, and I'm gonna tell him. He obviously came to me for a reason and asked me that question, and he didn't go to her for obvious reasons. So if the time comes, I'm prepared to tell him I've kept every me. He has the same attitude.
Hopefully not the high school you.
Probably eventually, because he's already like that now. He like we went to the park and he already had like a little girlfriend with him like 5 minutes. I was like, hey, dude,
Make daddy proud.
I had a little girl crying when we had to leave, crying. Oh, I'm like, bro, what did you do? Like you're 3.
Hit him with those.
We're playing at the park. It was me, Jackson, and my best friend. Her son's autistic, but he loves Jackson. He loves the other kids. So I took him out to the park, and they were playing, and this little Hispanic girl just like me, took kindly to Jackson. Who was just obsessed with him, playing on the swings, pushing him on the fucking swings, throwing the ball around. Oh, and like she got upset that he had to leave, and I was just like, I don't know what else to tell you. I can't stay out here. It's getting dark. Y'all are gonna be leaving soon anyway. It's getting dark. This park doesn't have streetlights. But he doesn't like Jackson's very much like me. He doesn't like if you lie on him. And if you continue to lie on him and you don't let him tell the truth, he'll find a way to get the truth out of somebody. And he did that, and it kind of, it opened up a lot of. It showed he did it at the right time, and it showed he did. I'm trying to rephrase it where Jackson did it on purpose in a way so I would know that somebody was lying about something, because he was trying to tell me the truth, and someone kept talking over him and like trying not to let him say what he's supposed to say. And mind you, this happened months ago. And just like me, Jackson holds on to everything and he remembers everything. So, dude, this incident happened like the beginning of this year. And this conversation got brought up like 2 months ago. So it's like, bro, this shit's been sitting on Jackson's mind for 4 months. And he knew exactly when to bring it up at the exact right time to know I was listening. And it's just like, I know at the end of the day, however the situation goes, I know at the end of the day, whether it goes my way or not, he will gravitate towards me, like he always has. From when I first met him, he instantly, like within 5 minutes, he instantly knew who I was and grew a connection with me.
That's that father son bond. It's always gonna be
Yeah,
there
shit was
regardless.
quick, and it was. I was scared at first because obviously it was my first time meeting him. Da 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 da. It had to be a supervised visit because I had just met her. I mean, it was my first time seeing him, so we had to do it like I literally have a picture of him. I have pictures of him literally realizing who I am. That right there. As soon as he gets, and he has the same little dumbass smirk that I do.
I know.
So it's just like, this is when we had like the first time we hung out. So he already instantly knew, and once he realized who I was, he didn't give a shit who else was there. And like we did that, and it's just, it sucks. He is getting a lot bigger now. He's gonna be 4, and like since I've seen him in April, he's grown so much. And I spoke to him yesterday. He misses everybody. He wants to come back down. And I'm not like her. I'm not gonna throw him in the mix of the legal stuff. I'm not gonna use him as a pawn. So I'm not doing the same thing she does. Like, if like I know that she may not show up, but I'm just playing it off like, yeah, buddy, we'll try to work it out. I'll see you soon. We'll do this, that, and the third, and whatever. Do I know when I'm going to see him? I have no idea. But I'm pretty sure my lawyer will hopefully handle things this week so I can at least see him for his birthday. And even if I can't get my makeup time, I still want to have him for the week. Even if they refuse up and down and give me any makeup time or whatever, I must can tell them flat out, like, that's fine, but based off my be there on the 6th. I have things planned out for his birthday. Things have been planned out months in advance. A fuck ton of money was spent because my aunt was rushing. My aunt, I wouldn't say she rushed, but she's getting a pool built in her backyard. It's set to be done by the time his birthday comes around. So it's like thousands of dollars has been spent already for his birthday.
Yeah,
So
it
we
needs
want
to happen.
Yeah, so It's just a matter. I'm like, I'm sure there shouldn't be an issue. I'm flying 2 hours to North Carolina to go get my son. She's not showing up. Like that's something completely different. Like if I have to get on a plane to go get him and you're not bringing him, like that's a huge no on the side of the courts. No, but at the end of the day, this situation is going to play out how it's going to play out, and as much as it's going to hurt if it doesn't work out that way, I still got 14 more years. It sucks. Obviously, as a parent, you never want to miss a birthday, but I got 14 more years, 7 more birthdays, because I'm not an asshole. Like I'm not going to do the things that she wants to do by completely taking me out of his life. I'm not going to do that. Don't get me wrong. I want to have him primarily, but she's going to have every spring break, and then we're going to rotate Christmas around his birthday. So let's say this year, let's say I have him for his birthday this year. She'll have him for the entire winter break. If she gets him, that's my deal. It's not our court order, but it's a deal I offered her. If she has him for his birthday this year, then I would have him for the whole winter break. So it's not fair for both parents to have to split the winter break, because the cost of flights during winter break is ridiculous.
Triple, double.
Ridiculous for no reason. So there's no reason to split that in half to make parents spend thousands of dollars in flights, because flights will be like $400 a ticket, and he's not 2 years old anymore, so you got to pay a full price for him, even though he's under 12. But that's one thing that's stupid with the airlines. It's like once you're 2 years old, you pay for your child as an adult. Like I get they got to take a seat. That's fine. I perfectly understand that. But you should not. I'm not saying a crazy discount, but even if it's 10, 20% or 30% for any child that's under 12, that shouldn't be a bad idea. Like a parent shouldn't be spending an adult price on a child. I understand the airlines they take a seat, so you're paying for the seat and blah blah blah. But it's like, dude, there's fucking 80 people on this fucking plane.
They don't care about that.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't give a fuck. They just want their money.
I know.
They just want their money.
I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want my fucking money too, but goddamn.
They're charging an arm and leg for somebody that's not the size of an arm or a leg.
Dude, last year when I booked my flights to get him in July for his birthday last year, it was like $700 for me to go up there and bring him back. And that was just flights. I still had to pay for my hotel.
Oh my god, $700?
Because it was like two something or almost $200 for me to fly up there, and then the rest it was like two something each to fly back down here. And based off our court order, we can't drive, we can't take a train, we fly, which is fine. I'll do that, no problem.
Because it's interesting. Mm-hmm. So, from your personal opinion, does body count matter?
No.
And why?
We're adults.
You gotta be more detailed, just for the audience.
In high school, I was fucking. Let's be real. We all knew this. Let's just be honest. That's why you're let's hope Jackson was the end up like I was in high school. We all know this. So it's just bro, at the end of the day, we're adults now. Everyone's lived their lives. Body count is such a thing where it's bro, yeah, oh, blah, blah, blah. Dude, none of that shit matters, bro. Yeah, it may look bad, especially if she got something. But at the end of the day, bro, we're all adults. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. And part of being adult most of the time is having sex. And
raw dogging these motherfuckers.
I don't know about raw dogging. I mean, that got me in my position. That's what I'm saying. Do it responsibly, but I don't think body count should matter as long as you got to be responsible with it. You don't just pull a Nick Cannon or that chick from high school who had twins in her freshman year.
Who was that again?
Ashley. She worked at the KFC. She worked at the KFC, or used to back then.
Oh,
blonde chick.
Yeah, the blondie.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And the dude was 19.
She was
the freshman.
She was 12, 13. Though.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, so
it's just like, I don't dwell too much on body count because, unless you obviously knew them throughout that whole period of time. I mean, when I was down bad, what I was doing? I
Oh,
was going out.
hoeing,
Yeah.
hoeing.
So it's like, and that's why, like, in high school, like, and like, it was weird because, like, I shouldn't have gotten girls because of this, but I did.
You was such a hoe back then, dog.
But I was equal with it. So like I would get upset. I'm like, I'll be around a bunch of guys I'm like, yo, y'all can't be hyping me up and then talking about this girl like shit. You guys can either talk about me like shit, or you can hype her up the same way you're hyping me up. There's no reason why it should be different because she's a girl and I'm a guy.
Everything's double standards
I know
nowadays.
that, and it's the same thing for girls. They'll hype their girls up and then say guys are dogs. And it's like I've never been like that. Like, yeah, I had my period of time where I was hoeing, doing whatever the fuck I want because back then it was easy. I'm a light skinned guy who his eyes changed color, and I wasn't that. I wasn't really fat then. I had weight training for like 3 years, so I was built. I wasn't defined, but I wasn't like. I mean, now I've lost weight. I've lost like 50 pounds since the wedding. I was like three.
Damn.
I was 310. My wedding pictures, I look like round, and I've lost like 50 pounds. And now I'm back down to 255.
That's pretty good.
High school, I was 225. I was slimmer, but I didn't have any definition. I had a fuck ton of muscle and like just a layer of fat on top. But yeah, just to kind of piggyback off of that, like I don't think body count should matter. Like, look at Lexi. She's a porn star.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's like the shit don't matter.
She living a good life.
I mean, she's not doing it. She's not doing it anymore. She got a boyfriend now. She's living her life. So why should body count matter? Because she was fucking in high school.
What?
Oh, I'm. That's one person I didn't have sex with. I never would have because she dated my boy. That's another thing I wouldn't do.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either. There's like limitations when it comes to
I
that.
was talking to my friend about it yesterday. One of his boys, like, I guess, hooked up with his ex when they weren't together, and I'm like, dude, like, if it is really, I'm like,
If you're already boys, yeah, I shouldn't be doing that type of thing.
if you're really boys, if he really wanted it like that, he would have asked you. That's another thing. As men, if you would come to me about it, we're not together. I don't care. Do what you want, but don't do it behind my back and let me find out later. Like
Type shit.
what was that chick's name? She was a mate. Was she a majorette?
Rosie?
No, the one I was messing with. Her brother went to our school, and I didn't know it was her brother. And still, he couldn't do anything because I wasn't like fighting, but it was just like,
Tati.
no, everyone knew who I was, and like I was like the fights I got into, the other person never really worked out. The last fight I got into was in the locker room with that kid who kept roasting my mom. Even after I was like, I was always cool with mama jokes. I didn't care. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, yo, like, if I was not in the mood or I didn't want to, like, my mom died, let's lay off. He doubled down. He was like, oh, your mom probably dead because she didn't deal with you. And like, he was just doubling down. And I was like, all right.
That sounds like Aiden.
I don't know who it was. I know I just want to fucked him up bad in that locker room. And that's how me and Stanley became friends. I don't know if you remember Stanley. He was our sophomore year, he was a freshman. Remember Kevin?
Which Kevin?
Joseph.
Most likely.
His younger brother.
Oh, yeah. I need to talk about.
Kevin was a grade higher than us. So he was with remember Steven and his brother, David?
Yeah.
And then like Matt, who everyone thought was my brother,
Yeah.
Matthew Hunt. Kevin was in their class. So I got into that fight in the locker room. Like it was the reason why me and Stanley became friends because when I fought him, I threw him into Stanley's locker. So it like bent it in a little bit. But when I went to go punch him, he moved and I caved his fucking locker. Like I caved his whole locker to the point where the padlock it bent into the door. I didn't realize how hard I hit him, or how hard I hit the locker, and I still kept fighting him or whatever.
That's what I call adrenaline rush right there.
And then it's not even the worst part. So remember Miss Duncan? She was on the third floor, the English teacher.
Yeah.
So this cut is from that locker. When I punched it, it sliced my finger open. I had no idea. I'm in class doing my work. Like I sit down and like the teacher's staring at me and I'm like looking at me. She takes me outside. She's like, "You don't feel anything?" I was like, "No, why?" She grabs my hand and picks it up. My whole hand was covered in blood. I had no idea. I was like, "Oh." And she's looking. I was like wondering because when I walked into class, everyone got quiet, and I had blood leaking out of my fucking hand. I had no idea. And so she had sent me to the office and all this other bullshit. And then that's how the reason why me and Stanley became friends was he came to football practice afterwards. Couldn't open his fucking locker because I caved it in, and he had to run laps on the track the entire practice.
Damn.
So he thought someone told him that I did it, but they didn't tell him the fucking story. So he thought I just did it. So he came to me and grabbed me like, "Yo, I will fuck you up too." Like I'm not. He's like, "Whoa!" I'm like, they must have not told you why that locker got bent in. And he was like, they're like, "No, they just told me you bent my locker." I'm like, "I was fighting somebody. And I punched your locker, bent your locker in." And then he just became my friend after. And we were friends. We've been friends all the way up until the wedding. And then the wedding, me and I cut him off because in typical Stanley fashion, just like he did for my 22nd birthday, he'll confirm everything all the way up until like 2 or 3 days beforehand. And then we'll be like, "Oh, this, oh, that, oh, this, oh, that." So obviously, I've known him since high school. He knew when I was going to propose, which obviously knows he knew when the wedding date was going to be because the wedding date was going to be the next year on our anniversary. He was going to be a groomsman. Everything was planned out. 3 days or 3 to 4 days before the wedding, I reached out to him. I needed the money for the rental tuxes. "Oh, I don't have the money. We to get up there." Blah, blah, blah. I was like, "Dude, you've known about this since last year, from before I proposed. You've had enough time and money to save $1 a day and still have." And he's like, "Oh, like and then he just doubled down and made it worse. He's like, "Oh, you know what? It's a huge sacrifice for me to come to your wedding because it's my girl's birthday and blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh,
That's so inconsiderate.
I'm like, you can go fuck yourself." So I'm like, "Bro, like I told you flat out, I made it very clear to you when I invited you to this. If you fuck this up, I'm cutting you off. I made it very clear to you." And he was trying to. I'm like, "Bro, there's nothing for us to talk about. You've done this 1,000,001 times, and I told you if you're gonna pull this shit again, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore." And he was on some other dumb shit. I cut him off. I still had to pay for his tux because he canceled last minute. I still had to pay for his plate and spot in the wedding because he canceled last minute. So he cost like $1,000 on my wedding, and then I cut him off. So mind you, everybody knows I'm petty as fuck.
That's gonna be the next question.
In a couple months after that, his girl was blowing my phone from Facebook. Mind you, I hate when I say like I do not like his girl at all. Like when I see her, I cuss her out every single time, and she swears that we're cool. Like she's so delusional that like I'll cuss her out. Like I'll be like I'm legit serious, and she's like, "Granny, you know you love me." Nah, 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 nah. I'm like, "Bitch, I don't. I don't like you." And Stanley will tell her, and she just thinks that I'm just being aggressive because we're cool like that. So when she called me, I told her flat out, I was like, "Listen, like I don't fucking care about what the hell he's going through. I don't care. He wasn't at the wedding, so why would I care about anything?" "Oh, that's not the third, and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Bro, oh, and her name's ghetto as fuck. Quamisha." Like, dude, like how ghetto can it fucking be? God damn. But I told her, I'm like, Well, your nigga told me that it was such a huge sacrifice for me coming to my wedding for the same day as your birthday. She's like, oh, well, he didn't tell me that. I was like, oh, the more you know. And then he called me and was telling me about his grandpa dying and all this other bullshit. And I know his grandpa, so I met him. All right, I'm sorry, no dogs, whatever, whatever. Hope everything works out for you. Good fuck, live your life. Bro begged me to come live your life. Breaking down the phone, begging me to come live your life. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Da, 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 cool, cool, cool. Like, send me the address. There, the viewing comes. Texts me. Yo, you pulling up? No, blocked again. Why you weren't there for me? Why the fuck would I be there for you?
Some people are just delusional like that.
So he reached out to me, was asking if I was gonna pull up. I looked at my phone. I was gonna text him like, no, I'm not coming. I just looked at it and he called me, staring, watching the bitch ring. Let him ring, called me like 3 times, and I blocked him and didn't show up. Girl called me, still didn't show up. I'm not. I'll be damned if I'm there for you. Because you weren't biggest day of my life. You weren't there. You look like yourself.
You
I
did the right
I
thing.
cut off a lot of people after that wedding. Not because they didn't show up, but it's just like I'm not bringing in these same people into a new part of my life. I've kept them around, thinking like they're my friends and they're cool and this that and they're there for me, but they're not. It's like
You,
I wasn't dealing with that anymore.
you know what it is? You just outgrew them. That's what it is.
I know that, and I outgrew them in a way where they look up to me, not in a positive way. They look up to me in a
Envious way.
resentful way because we were together. We were down bad at the same time, especially me and Stan. We after high school we stopped talking, but coincidentally, years later we ended up living on the same block.
Hmm.
Like let's say my apartment complex is ATM. His apartment complex is the one that's right there on the corner. The one that like all the people. You remember Kadir?
Yeah.
The building right there where he lived in. That was the distance between me and Stanley's apartments. So me and him, rekindled after the years, and we were best of friends. But he always stayed down bad of whatever situation he was
Some people don't want to grow after their
in. And I've
situations.
always tried to work my way up with something, whether it was school or when I was working on the beach or when I was working in the restaurant. Every time, anywhere I was at, I wasn't trying to be complacent. I was trying to work my way up. And I've tried to help him. I've gotten him a job at the restaurant I was working at the hotel I was working at a different restaurant. He blew it. Try to get him a job somewhere else, didn't show up. Try to get him a job somewhere else, couldn't do the interview. And I'm like, bro, like you claim you want these same goals, but you really don't. And you're out just in typical fashion. He got 2 kids and 2 BMs because he's just dumb as fuck. Does what he wants to do.
Typical Miami nigga.
You remember Ataja,
Yeah.
one of his baby mamas?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
That's the one thing, it's funny. That's the one thing that I like. I try to hook him up with jobs and everything. I hooked him up with a Taj and he stayed.
You see, the good, nah, I don't want that. The bad, I'll stay for
Yeah, I'm
that.
saying. I'm like,
I'll stay for that.
so like they dated. Everything was cool at first, and like they had their little, their little rockiness, whatever, like anybody else. Because you obviously remember the chick from the other high school I was dating. So Tyler got jealous of her because I took her to. I went to K to get her like a promise ring because that's what Tiana was into. I spent like almost $300 on a promise ring for her and some other shit, and she got in her feelings because Stanley wasn't buying her gifts, and I'm like, and I explained to him and her, I was like, me and Tiana been together for 2 years. Y'all been together for 6 months. Nothing. And she couldn't grasp that because in actuality she just wanted me to understand. And so what she did was, in order to get me and Tiana to break up, so she could try to get at me. Mind you, she with Stanley. knowing he's like a brother to me at the time. She calls my girl because we're all cool with each other, like we had each other's number. Told her that I fucked the neighborhood cop in that area
Damn.
and was freaking out because she was trying to use my health condition against me or whatever. Then my girl and then my girl held on to that for like 2 months before she told me. Like we were like she was acting real funny with me one day, and I'm like, yo, like what the fuck is going on? Like, why are you you never act like this? Why are you acting? And she finally told me, and I was like, I called him first. I'm like, yo, get your girl in check, because I will knock her front teeth out. Like, I don't hate women, but like, my girl's Tiara was so like, if she's mad enough, she will fight, and she was strong as fuck. So it's like, Taji, you're like 4'9". My girl is 5'9", pure muscle. You're gonna get fucked up. Like, this is not what you want right now. Because Tiana was a gymnast, so she was dude legit just straight muscle. Me and my wife make fun of her now and call her She-Hulk, but that's not the point. So yeah, she reached out to me about fixing her car a while back. I'm pretty sure she still talks to Stanley too, because she's reached out to him to check on me, to ask how I'm doing. It's like, bitch,
We don't talk no more.
yeah. But what was your next question?
Next question. What is the pettiest revenge you ever pulled off?
I had sex with my ex-girlfriend. I told you about this story.
Yeah, I remember. That's why I just had a flashback. Just had a flashback.
Yeah. So dating this chick in high school. This is the one I told you guys about when I was the Hispanic chick that I was dating near my dad's house my senior year. That thick Puerto Rican chick Ashley.
Yeah.
So we had broken up over some dumb shit. She had got back for her abusive ex. He was mad because I took it taken him from her. So he wanted to get his revenge. So he had called it like she pretty much set me up to get jumped. So I mean I did get jumped, but I fought back as best I can. It was what it was. It was like four of them. I'm gonna get jumped. This for this. Well, years later, I'm at a bar. I'm hanging out, and it's like I didn't recognize her mom at first, but like later on, we ended up shooting the shit at the bar, talking. Next thing you know, it's like 1:30 in the morning, and I was like, I'm probably gonna fumble the bag saying this. I'm like, do you know who I am? Because like at this point, I had like a more fuller beard and all this other shit. I didn't just have like a chin strap. So she's like, yeah, I knew like 5 minutes in. I was like, oh, cool. So we were still chopping up, drinking, hanging out, whatever. And then I obviously go back to her house and fuck and hanging out, smoking, whatever. In the morning, I come out. Her mom drove into the kitchen. Typical fucking movie or porn star bullshit. She was coming out because she heard like something in the kitchen. She came out, saw me. What are you doing here? Spazzing the fuck out. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, mom comes out in my t-shirt and looks at me, looks at her daughter, and was like, and tells me to go in the room. And she's like, I have to go back in the room. Man.
Damn.
I was fucking her mom for like 4 months.
You should have been like,
Yeah,
you might as well call me daddy now. For real, for real.
I just wanted to double down, but like I had a really like me and her had a conversation before I went over there, and it was she did like like she was like, listen, if she sees you, she sees you, but like because she knows like I would egg it on, but I didn't do any of that. I was fucking with her. After that, like we really only because her brothers weren't home at the time, thank God. So if her brothers were there, she came to my apartment. Yeah, we messed around for like 4 months. Um, I also did something similar, but with one of her best friends, different ex that I had. Um, she did on me while I went. Remember that Chicago trip I went to?
Yeah.
She cheated on me while I went to that Chicago trip. That's her best class. And I knew one of her friends liked me. I had their numbers because we were all cool. And like, we started hanging out, and then um, I had a key to her place, and they were all going to be hanging. I guess she told me about them. Her best friend wasn't fucking with her either. So like, she came home to me and her best friend in her bed, in her house.
That's some savage shit, bro.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
I've done that. Um, and those are the two biggest pettiest things. I mean, I've done a lot of other petty shit. Those are the two biggest ones.
Yeah, they were crazy. That's some
Those
crazy
are the
shit.
time.
All right, so what is your toxic trait that you low key enjoy?
I'm petty.
Top tier.
Yeah.
Top tier.
And the thing is with me is like, I remember everything. And Diana hates. I mean, she loves it and hates it at the same time. But I have a and Diana does too. She loves to say, "I remember you have an elephant." Yeah, I'm just like if I'm and everyone's like, "Oh, it's because I'm a Cancer and all that bullshit." But like I guess it's true if you follow it. But like the minute I don't trust you or I don't fuck with you, you're never gonna gain that back. So it's just like if I'm being if someone ends up being on the wrong side of me towards them, it's warranted. It's for like I'm not just out like just being petty and talking to everybody for no fucking reason. I give everyone like a million and one chances. And once that shit's up, like it's up. Like I gave you had every opportunity to fix it. You had every chance to try to do what you gotta do, and that's it. So like once it gets to a point where I'm done with it, then that's what it is.
You better than me. Everybody gets 3 chances, dog, with me.
That's what I meant before. It was like after the wedding, I'm shit at this point. I'm only giving people like one or two. I'm like, there's no point in me wasting my time. Like, there's things I want to do in my life, and if you're not gonna, I want to say if you're not gonna better it anyway, but if you're not gonna even just be in a positive position while I'm going through the things I'm going through around me, because at the end of the day, like that's what I was doing. I was giving everybody a million chances, and I was sticking around with people who were unfortunately below me. I've, like we said, I've outgrown a lot of people, and I was just holding on to these people because when I moved from ATM to Fort Lauderdale, I lost like 95% of my friends because at that time I didn't have a whip, so I couldn't come down here when either you or any of my other friends were inviting me to do shit because that was going to be like at least $150 excursion because I got to pay for the Uber back and forth. I got to pay for what food or drink we're gonna have. So it's like at that time I wasn't really making enough money to keep doing that. But the people I was able to hold on to, I was trying to hold on to them. 'Cause that's all I had. But I was after everything that I went through already, I was like, yeah, like fuck that. Like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter how close a person is to you, how far away a person is. If if they want to be in your life in a positive light,
Yes, sir.
you're not the only one who's going to be making the
The effort.
yeah. Each side will be making efforts to do that. So like my best man, me and him have been friends, and the guy, funny enough, me and him have been friends since I started working. 2018.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
I think it was 2018. It was either 2017 or 2018. And the guy that replaced Stanley was a friend of mine from work slash school. Well, me and him are super close now. We've been close since I started the program. And it's just I'm not dealing with anyone's bullshit anymore. I got enough of my own shit going on where I'll help you, don't get me wrong, I'm very much there for people I care about, but I'm not gonna go and break my neck to help somebody if they haven't. Like one of my best friends, like I said earlier, her son's autistic. I'll watch him every single day. I don't care. I love that little boy like he's my nephew. because she's helped me with either watching kids. She's been there for me when I was down bad on a legal situation or whatever the case may be. She's always like, even though her herself, like, and that's another thing too. Like, if I see someone who doesn't got nothing and they're still there for me, I'm gonna help you out, regardless of what it is. If you want me to watch your kids so you can go out and work, if you need help with, you don't got food at home and you want to drop your son off, I got you. It doesn't matter. You need someone to crash because you got something going on. I got no problem with that. Especially with Diana. Obviously, since it's not my house technically, I always ask Diana to make sure it's okay, especially with my friends. But she's the same way. If it's someone that she trusts and she knows, she's got no problem. And it's really, she's all, especially since the kids are there. There's only like two or three people she trusts to sleep there anyway.
So I'm talking about. Y'all sound like a power couple that most people wish they had, dog.
We have our, like
Ain't,
everybody else, we
ain't,
have our.
they ain't perfect, but still,
But what
they sound.
helps is like in high school, I wasn't like I've always been older than my age. So, like in high school, I was already like mentally like in my 20s. Dinah's got 15 years on, so mentally I'm at the same level as her. So it's just like it works out perfectly, and it also works out physically because I look a lot older for my age. She looks a lot younger.
Same here, dog. You know, lost the hair.
You've been lost the hair,
That's besides the point.
so it's like, and she's 41.
You chilling,
I
dog?
know.
Good.
Listen, warm. And it comes with Capri Sun, so it works.
You wow.
She knows it. I talk about her all the time. She knows it. She hates that I always bring up her age. I'm like, babe, like I bring it up not to. Yeah, don't be wrong. I bring it up to like say like, yeah, we have the age, yeah, but you don't look your age. That's the first thing to say. Oh, to piggyback off that one of your last questions.
I got one more question for you.
Yeah,
Would you rather be rich and hated or broke and loved?
rich and hated
Why?
because I know my wife will deal with my children. I can care less if everybody else does.
I get that.
Cause Dinah can't stay mad at me. She just can't. Unless I really do some fucked up shit, which I rarely ever do. Don't be wrong, I have my moments. I've done some real fucked up shit. And so she's had her moments too where we've crossed each other's boundaries, but it's very rare. So it's just like as long as like I see it as when someone's getting married, she's not marrying my family and I'm not marrying her family. We're creating our own,
Hmm.
which and our respective families come second. So it's just like as long as my circle, my family, I could care less if every single person in my family is care less. I got no problem cutting all of them off in a heartbeat. I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. I can go without for me, the reason why I say that it's a lot easier. I only have like three family members down four down in South Florida. Just my dad, my two aunts, my uncle, and one cousin.
I mean,
My
that is
grandmother,
kind of easy. I
my
got like 200.
grandmother, yeah, my grandmother and my grandfather live up near Orlando, and everybody else was out of state. So it's like I don't really care. And I was always I was mine's dead. Mine's been off.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know if it's still picked up in you.
I think it did.
It might pick up on yours though.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? For me, it's always been different. I was literally just having this conversation with Diana actually. I'm like everything's different with me and my family because of the situation with my mom, my health condition. So like I always in all Caribbean households, when you're a child, you address people by either aunt or uncle, or you have like a special name, whether it's Nana, Poppy, whatever.
Yeah.
There's always a name. As a child in a Caribbean family, you don't call nobody by their first fucking name. You're gonna get smacked.
It's normal.
But I'm the only one in my entire family who can do that. They just raised me differently. So like I don't say aunt, uncle, nothing. Danielle, Dale, I call you like I'm an adult, and they've always been like, I don't know why it was like that. My family was like, oh, we didn't want to be so hard on you, whatever. So it's just like I'm already different from everybody else in my family. I would like, even though I'm very family oriented, I was never family oriented for my own family due to my own dramas and trauma that I've been through with my mom dying, my grandma dying, all the other bullshit I went through as a kid. So I've always been very distant from that family in general, like since my mom died. Since my mom and grandma died, they passed away in the same year. So since then, I've always been naturally distant from that side of the family. So it's never been hard for me to just stop talking to them for months at a time. So it's just like I would rather be rich, and as long as my wife and my kids still love me, I can care less what about anyone else in this life. At the end of the day, my family's good. Everybody else can go kick rocks.
That's what I'm talking about. Do you have any social media that you
Yeah,
want to share?
I have Instagram. I mean, it's not the most appropriate username, but
What is it?
Conqueef the door, Conqueror of the Queef. That's why I
Okay.
came up with it.
Yeah, you have to send that to me because
But probably I don't know if I'm gonna change it. Soon. But yeah, I don't really use Facebook. And that's part of why that's I wouldn't say it's part of the reason why I didn't do the podcast last time, but it definitely makes things difficult because like I'm not ashamed to say like I have another part. Like, it is what it is. But it's just like I can't do things that I enjoy because it gets held against me. Like I would love to be able to have to do like a podcast where I can smoke and chill, kind of like Joe Rogan's. But I can't do that as of yet. But
you gotta be patient, bro.
yeah, I mean, I got no problem with that. Like, it's not something that needs to get done right now. It's other things in my life that I'm trying to do that I'll definitely be able to do that at some point in my life. And like, obviously, I'll be able to have like more content too because I'll be able to do stuff like this. I'll have my car stuff. I'll have this. I'll have that. So I really want to I want to join. I want to be big in that car social media community. So I've already networked with one guy in New Mexico, fullest actually. That's nothing's gonna work out from that right now because I don't have a car that I'm modifying right now. I was building a older Chrysler 300 to turn it into like my own my own version of a Hellcat, but that kind of went sideways money wise. So I'm just gonna sell the swap as is. It has a new motor and stuff in it. I just haven't had the time to. I have to pretty much create my own wire harness. I don't feel like doing all that. That's too much work.
I get it.
So I'm just selling that as is. Next year, I'm going to try to get a truck, and then after that, I'm going to save up to build my. I'm going to create. I'm going to build a CTS hatchback, the Cadillac, and I'm going to LS swap it and kind of create my own Cadillac beat, my own black one. But that's going to be years from now because the LS swap it alone, the engine is going to be like $5,000. I'm probably going to have to pay. I mean, I'm gonna have to pay Diana's godmother, who runs the transmission shop, for him to rebuild my transmission for like a racing transmission to handle all the horsepower, and then everything else I gotta install and do myself. It's gonna take some time. I get a garage and do it. It's something I think I'll be able to get done in a few years, but honestly, by latest, I'm gonna have it by the latest, like done and completed and driving by 2030. It's probably gonna take me a little over a year to completely do because I don't know how to rebuild an engine. So I'm gonna have to send it out. My program does it. The program taught us. We went over rebuilding engines briefly, but if you're not doing it constantly, you're not gonna remember it. And my job and that's another thing what people need to know about dealership. We don't rebuild shit. You get new shit. So like you don't want to go to a dealership and expect for us to like rebuild your engine, rebuild the transmission. You install a whole new thing. That's it. So which, granted, it's better for us so we can make more money because our money is based on the amount of hours that we can make. And like it's so our bonus starts at 33 and then it goes from any like 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69. Every 10 hours is another bonus increase. So it's like rebuilding an engine may only pay you like say 15 hours, but to rebuild an engine can take you 3 days. Putting a whole new engine in, you can get it done in 2 days. And you may get paid a little less, but you got the job done sooner, so you have more work you can get to add on top of that to hit bonus. So like today, if we weren't going to do this, I actually would have went to work because I had 27 hours and I needed 6 more hours to hit over bonus. There's no point in me going after this because after lunchtime it's dead as fuck. So I was like, there's no point. I may stop by there because I'm not far to see if they have any, but I don't think they will.
Alrighty, bro. I guess that's the end of the episode. You
Yeah.
know,
Covered a lot.
a lot of stories, a lot of interesting, wild stories and revenge moments, but a lot of things that our viewers could learn from. You know,
My main thing is like, it's cool to hear all the petty shit, the dumb shit, whatever. I'm glad that, don't get me wrong, like I said, I still have my moments where I can be. I'm glad that, like as an adult, like I'm not gonna sit here and be like other kids our age who are out here just being reckless, just fucking people over anytime someone screws you over, be petty or whatever. I'm not doing all that. It's not necessary. I did that shit back in high school. I'm too grown for that shit now. Like, yeah, can I be petty? Yeah. Do I do it a lot? Not really. I work 5 days a week. I come home. I hang out with my kids. I play a video game and I go to bed. That's my Monday through Friday. The weekends,
that sounds kind of peaceful to me, to be honest.
9 times out of 10, I'm most likely with the kids on the weekend doing something. So it's like I don't really have the want, time, or necessity to really be petty. If a situation comes up and it is warranted, yeah, in that situation. But like, dude, it's not worth it. Being petty, don't get me wrong, being petty is childish. It has its moments where you need to, or it has a moment where it feels right. But doing it 24/7 or being petty 24/7 is so fucking childish.
It's a waste of energy.
It's just like why dwell on the negative energy of it? What's the point? You just want the attention, whether it's good or bad. It's that's the problem. So people don't really understand that they want to be petty 24/7. They want to act a certain way 24/7 because they want the attention. But what people don't understand is they want attention, but they don't understand the kind of attention they're attracting. They just want attention. They don't understand that they're attracting negative
A lot of people don't understand what peace feels like yet, so they just prefer
attention.
the
Well, it's up
chaos.
there. I've been staring at it this whole time.
That's all I believe in, peace, dog.
Or that's the thing. Like that's all people really need. Don't get me wrong. People need to sit down and have discussions. That's how you build peace. Like, you don't just like. And I've learned this through like my own little personal journey that I'm going through on right now. But like everything doesn't deserve a reaction. Everything doesn't deserve a big reaction. I'm always very, as Diana or anybody else like to say, it's very cancer of you, whatever the dumb bullshit is. But like I'm always emotionally attached or intrigued by things. So if something happens, I react, or I may be emotional about it, or whatever, because I'm very much the kind of person where I won't hold my emotions back. If something happens, I'll have my moment or my emotion right then and there, and then I'll move on from it. Me and my wife are two totally opposites. When something happens, she'll lock it in the beginning and then feel emotional about it later. I'm the opposite. I'll feel emotional about it now and then lock in about it the rest of the way. Because then I'm like, all right, I had my 5 minutes. It's time to do what I got to do. She's the opposite. She'll like, okay, it's time for me to do what I got to do. Then I'll have my 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes are not 5 minutes. They're 5 days. So it's like
What? I already know how that feels, bro.
I was just talking the other day. I'm like, man, I'm in an attitude or whatever. I've had like a tone. I'm like, babe, like I have trying to talk to you. You have been pretty tired and emotional the last few days, and since you've been that way, you've been saying, but I haven't. I was just telling you, like today, I was telling her about how the plans changed. She thought I had like an attitude. I was like, no, I'm just letting you know, I'm meeting up with the grandparents somewhere else. 'Cause I don't want to run too late to go to my boy's house. Where were you late? Like, she had said something. I'm like, I'm not giving you an attitude. I'm just telling you flat out how it is. Everyone has their moments. As long as you can work it out, that's all that. As long as you can either work it out or know how it works.
You just gotta find some peace in that chaos. That's all it is. That's all it is, bro. But just to cut the episode a great episode,
Yeah.
a very great episode to the end. So, all right, you guys, we'll catch you next week on the next episode. You know, stay blessed. Yep. Follow, like, share, leave a review. If the review is a little shady, keep it to yourself. But stay in trouble, troublemakers. Have a good one. Yeah, that's pretty much it, bro. Appreciate you.